It kind of looks like I've gone into mass manufacturing. Why so many of these? I wonder. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my vlog number 232 for Monday, September the 6th, 2021, or day 544 of COVID. Now, right off the bat, you're going to notice something new and different. I am recording this in a new way, and there's a reason for that. And I'm going to talk about that reason a little bit later on because this connects to a big announcement that I'm about to make. Now, just have to get used to looking in the camera in a different spot today. So if occasionally it looks like I'm looking down, it's because I'm checking my monitor and I'm not looking into the camera like this. See? So, sorry, frog in my throat. I'm also using my Yeti microphone with this, which I think gives me better sound quality than any of the other cheapo wired and unwired ones that I was using before. And I am recording this through my main computer using OBS as opposed to using my iPad, which is what I've been doing forever. So again, I will explain this in more detail in an appropriate moment. But first, let's talk about current projects. Now you see there's nothing behind me. Well, I don't have anything done to show you for one thing, and I have no place to hang it if I do my videos from this angle. And again, I'll explain why this is all happening in a bit. Okay, so I have been working on my freestanding Christmas gnomes. I've shown those to you before. Haven't got many of those done because I got waylaid by this project. And what this is a mug rug. Actually, it goes this way because there's a picture of Santa on this one. Now, this one you can't really see in the video, the quilting, which is actually a picture of Santa Claus in the background. But these are all done in the hoop on my embroidery machine. And sorry about that, that just picked up. I forgot to silence. There, it's silenced now. My email. Anyways, as I was saying, I'm making these. These are going along with the table toppers and with the little gnomes I just mentioned and a pin cushion. And these are all gifts for my friends at Ultimate Sewing. So have more of these to make. They're kind of fun to make. So that's one thing that I have been making. I've got more of my table toppers done. I've just about got all 12 finished. All I have to do is bind the last 4, and that's out of my way. So I'm well ahead of my Christmas projects. Now I have not quilted the 2 quilt tops that I've shown you, the Christmas ones, yet. And that's also part of my big announcement coming on. I keep hinting at all of this. You're probably figuring out what I'm going to say before I even get there. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you this week's YouTube channel. It is one, if you really like history, especially British history. It's by a very famous TV personality in the UK. He does a lot of these kind of series about history and interesting facts about England and the United Kingdom. And he does do ones that go abroad as well. He's done some series about Canada and that kind of thing. And his name is Tony Robinson, so you may have heard of him before. But he does have, or at least somebody has put up, a channel on YouTube that has all of his series there for you to watch. And I've been enjoying watching them quite a bit because I really do love anything to do with history as well. In fact, when I was in university, I'm a couple of credits short of actually having a minor in history. But anyways, I thought you'd appreciate this, so I'm going to insert that here. This week's YouTube channel of the week is Tony Robinson Fans. And what this is a collection of Tony Robinson's video series that he has had on the BBC for years. in the United Kingdom. Now, what I really love about this site is a lot of his very famous series that have played in the United Kingdom are now available for us here in Canada and the United States. If you're into history, British history especially, you're going to like this program. It's very, very entertaining and extremely educational as well, but not done in a very dry way. As you can see, he's got many series on here. The Worst Jobs in History, Tony Robinson's Romans. He has stuff about Australia, Down Under, Tony Robinson Down Under. I'll check that one out. Of course, one of his most famous ones is Timeline, which he has been running for years. And if we just plop over here to videos, actually, let's go to playlists. I think that'll give you a better sense of what's all on this particular channel. This is not, I don't think, officially, well, it could be officially a Tony Robinson channel. I have a feeling it is not, but it does have many, many of his series on here. So he's got Around the World by Train. That's really interesting. I've watched some of that. So if you're into history, especially British history, although it does extend beyond Britain's history, then check out Tony Robinson Fans channel. Okay, so that takes me to the resources I have listed in the show notes below, and you're going to find some links for the Idiot Quilter Retreat. Now, I talked about this last week. The Idiot Quilter Retreat will take place on September the 24th and September the 25th. September 24th is a Friday, so that night, it'll start that night at 7 p.m., and it's really not the actual retreat, it's just an ice-breaking sort of cocktail party that I'm going to hold from about 7 o'clock to maybe 9 o'clock. It depends, it could go on a little later, depending on how many people are there and if everybody's having a good time or not. So the whole idea behind that is that will be a Zoom, and bring your favorite beverage, bring your favorite snacks, and bring something to show us as well. It can be anything, something you're proud of, something that you have made, whether it be a quilt, whether it be some sewing, whether it be some mixed media, scrapbooking, whatever, and share it with us. Also, I'm going to have a little bit of a trunk show as well of some of my quilts. And it's just there to have fun, relaxation, get together with friends, little virtual party. As a forerunner to the main event, which is on Saturday, September the 25th, and that's the retreat. And that starts at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and will end at approximately 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I've already mentioned the fact that I have sent out details about all of these events, to everybody that was on my mailing list from the first one I did in the spring. However, if you did not do the one in the spring, I have put a link in the show notes called the Idiot Quilter Retreat Link to FAQ, which will take you to my Google Drive, and you can download a PDF of all the details about both the Friday night event and the Saturday event. There's also, within that structure, some tips and tricks about connecting with us on Zoom. And there's a list of materials that you should have available if you intend to do the little sew along that I'm going to do for about half an hour at one point. I'm going to show you how to make a very simple but very cute fabric Christmas star that's great for hanging on a tree or wall decoration, or even to put on gifts or something like that to make them a little special. And don't worry, I haven't forgot about you paper crafters out there, because the instructions for doing the fabric star work the same with strips of paper. So all of those details are in that little readout as well. Now, if you can't get that for some reason, if you have trouble, just drop me a line and ask me for it, and I'll send it to you via email. And my email address is in the show notes as well. So the links are there for the event. Now, although you do not have to pre-register or anything for this, and it's an absolutely free event, and I am going to have certain things throughout the day as well, little surprises to share with you. the whole idea for anybody who's never been on a retreat before is to bring what you want to work on and work on it and enjoy the company of fellow crafters, quilters, sewers. So, if you are thinking of coming, what I would like you to do, if you could, please send me that information. Just say, hi, it's whoever you are, first and last name, please, and saying, yes, you're planning to attend. And I will put that in my little list. And what I'm doing is I'm just collecting statistics, just to see how many people I could possibly potentially have at this, because my Zoom license only allows me to have 100 people. In fact, I'm only going to allow 95 because I need 5 spots saved for technical reasons for Walter and I as we run this. I don't know. There could just be Walter and I, or there could be a lot of people. So there are no reservations here because I'm not doing pre-registration. So I will keep you abreast of how high the numbers are. Right now, I've got about 31 people who have said that they definitely want to go to this. So, I mean, I've still got 60 spots left, right? A little more than 60, 64, I believe, spots left. So, you know, that's pretty good right now. But I have a feeling as the next couple of weeks go by, it's going to fill up much quicker. Now, as I said, just because you sent me the information saying that, yes, you're going to be a part of the retreat, does not mean you have a reserved spot. So, you know, my advice would be to click on to the Zoom link at, you know, 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. Actually, you can probably do it a little earlier than that. I'll probably be on there about 15 minutes before the official start time. And I will admit you, and you're in. You can come and go as you please throughout the day. But I'm just suggesting that if you really want to do this, you probably should get on there right at about 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I know that's a little difficult for those of you out on the West Coast because you're about 3 hours different, so it'd be 6 o'clock for you. Sorry about that, but I can't do much about time zones. But as I said, we'll see how many show up, and we'll have a good time no matter what. If there's 2 of us, we'll have a good time. If there's 95 of us, we'll have a good time. I guarantee it. So the links are in the show notes. There's also a link for Stephen and Walter Live. There's a link to Tony Robinson's YouTube channel. There's a link to The Idiot Quilter, episode 130, where I talk about my personal fabric storage, which is going to be short-lived. Yes, again, I hint at my big announcement. And there is a link to our latest So Chatty, episode 24, where actually, basically, Walter and I interviewed each other using the questions that I use for my interviews. And just a reminder, if you would like to be interviewed by me, please drop me a line and I'll get it set up with you. All are welcome. Okay, and I'm going to clear my throat. Sorry about that. So what's pissed me off this week? Well, guess what? In Canada right now, we have a big federal election happening on September the 20th. Only a couple of weeks away, really. And, of course, the politicians are all out there campaigning for this. First of all, I think it is a bad time for our Prime Minister to call an election. Not really sure what his reasoning is, but then again, don't ever try to second guess a politician because, hey, they don't use the rules of logic, do they? We know that. But for whatever reason, he's having this election. So, what's the big topic? What's the big platforms? What should all of these leaders of each party be talking about? They should be talking about what they're going to do, what their party's going to do about protecting us from COVID and solving the situation. Wrong. That's not what's important. What seems to be important to the leader of the NDP party, the New Democrat Party, as it's called, seems to be affordable housing. He makes a lot of promises, pie in the sky kind of things. In 10 years' time, he's going to build 110,000 affordable housing. What's affordable housing mean? He hasn't really said that. How can people who are homeless afford affordable housing if they haven't any money whatsoever? 110,000 houses sounds really great. Over 10 years? Yeah, who's paying for that? Where's the money coming from? How are you going to get the money for this? These are issues he does not deal with. But this is not unlike the NDP party, because the NDP party has never been in power in this country. They have always been, at best, the official opposition. And they make all these very outlandish promises all the time. But it's easier to criticize when you're not in power, isn't it? Now, the conservative leader, he has decided that the big platform issue is puppy mills. Yes, you heard me say it right. Puppy mills. Now, isn't that nice? Now, yeah, puppy mills. I am all for regulating that, for eliminating puppy mills, because it is animal cruelty as far as I'm concerned. I am not a supporter of people going out and buying pets from pet stores or from private breeders or things like that. I think that is stupid. I think there are a lot of animals in shelters that need good homes. So, you know, who needs a purebred dog? Nobody needs a purebred dog or cat. They're all little creatures. It's our responsibility as humans to protect them. Puppy mills do not protect those animals. So yeah, I agree with them. They need to be outlawed, but this is not a big platform, a big topic for his platform. What it is trying to pull at our heartstrings, our emotions, because, you know, a little wide-eyed puppy or kitty, yeah, you know how that melts your heart, right? And it avoids the main topic, which is COVID and how you're going to handle it, and how you're going to handle it through our existing healthcare system that needs support. He's not talking about that stuff. Well, then we have the liberals, and the liberals are the ones that are trying to get back into power, and I'm sure, as with any political party, they want to have a majority government. Right now, the liberals have a minority government. So they basically have to kiss the asses of the NDP and the bloc parties in order to get enough votes to get things they want to pass through, because the conservatives are not going to give them any votes at all. And that's the problem between the liberals and the conservatives, because they're really the two main parties in this country. As I said, the NDP don't really count because they've never led. But if the liberals, when they're in power, say something is white, the conservatives will say it's black. And that's the way it'll go. And nothing gets done. Now, if Trudeau, head of our Liberal Party, our prime minister right now, and hopefully will remain our prime minister after September the 20th, you know where my loyalties lie. If he gets a majority government, he can say, piss off, conservatives. I don't need your support. We don't need anybody's support. We're liberals. We can do what we want to do. But if he gets another minority government, yeah, that goes out the window. So that's what we're up against. Oh, there is another couple of other parties that really don't count for anything. The Green Party, their big platform is hug a tree, save the earth. Okay, yes, they're right. We've abused this environment. We need to protect it. We need better laws to, to get out of global warming and all that stuff. However, nobody's going to vote for them. I think they have like one seat at the federal level. So that means, like, yeah, you're sitting in the back and you can bitch about the ecology and things like that, but you're not getting anywhere. There's something called the PPC, People's Party of Canada. Have no idea what their platform is. I don't care. They don't matter. Of course, we have the Bloc. The Bloc is only from Quebec. Of course, it's only from Quebec because Quebec people are special Canadians. At least they think so. But anyways, we don't care much about the Bloc either because they've never been in power. However, they are fairly powerful. So Trudeau, or the Prime Minister, whoever gets into power, does have to take them into consideration. So really, this is a whole campaign that's wasting a lot of money, a lot of time for nothing. No one's talking about the big issue. And why we're having an election right now is beyond logic. But, you know, that's the way politics works, isn't it? Now, supposedly, when it comes to actually voting, we'll have the traditional polling stations, which are already, people are up in arms about because they're talking about putting them in schools. Now, in pre-COVID days, they used to do that. No big deal. But now it is a big deal because the little varmints are all going back to school, the little disease carriers, and they have polling stations in elementary schools. And at elementary schools, those kids have not been vaccinated because they can't. You know, if they're 12 and under, or under 12, they can't be vaccinated. So that's really nice. Let's put all the general population that wants to vote into a cesspool of disease. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, but the government has an alternative. You can vote by mail. Well, we're supposed to get a voter card that tells us where our polling station is and has all those details on it. They're supposed to have a website that gives you those details too. I went to the website. All I saw was something that you had to register to vote by mail. But it didn't really explain how that was going to happen. In fact, what I read, maybe that has changed, it's been a few days, that when you got your voting card in the mail, it would tell you how to register to vote by mail. Well, our mail service sucks in this country. You mail in the ballot. Is it going to get there in time for election day? I don't know. What about advanced polling stations? They usually put that out on the voting card too, where your advanced polling station is if you want to, avoid the rush and get it done. Well, I haven't seen a voting card yet. So this is September the 6th. The election is September the 20th. Let's do the math. It's 14 days to the election. 2 weeks. Wow. My prediction is that there'll be a record low of people voting in this election. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Because everybody needs to have their vote registered for this election. Because we're at a crucial point here in terms of our leadership. And we've had pretty sucky leadership through COVID. So we need give a government a strong mandate to do what we want them to do. And that would be the liberals. Okay, not the conservatives. They don't care about people. They only care about big businesses. Yeah. So, I intend to get out there and vote whichever method is necessary. If I have to wrap myself in saran wrap to protect myself when I go into a polling station, I will do that. But I believe that I should exercise my right to vote. And I always feel this. The bottom line of any of this is, if you don't vote, shut up. You don't have a right to criticize the government. You do not have a right to criticize because you did not exercise your right to vote. So shut the up about that. So yeah, that's the state of affairs that we're in here right now in my country. And we'll see what we see. I'm hoping for a liberal majority. I'm at least hoping that our next prime minister is still going to be Trudeau. Because out of all of the sins to vote for, or devils to vote for, he is the least, in my opinion. Okay, let's move on, shall we? So, my notes are in front of me on my other screen, and that's why I'm looking over here to the side, and I'm just pulling them up. Usually I have them on a piece of paper when I do it my old way, but because I'm doing it this way, well, new, so bear with me. Okay, product reviews. What's new? Went off to Ultimate Sewing the other day, picked up some more Christmas fabric because I am, believe it or not, I'm actually running out, at least of big pieces. So I got that. I'm going to show that. It's nothing new and exciting because it's actually a repeat of what I've had before, but I will talk about it in more detail on the Idiot Quilter tomorrow. But I also picked up a couple of specialty rulers. Now, I had seen this ruler called Deb Tucker's Corner Beam on there's a glare. Doesn't matter where I videotape in this room, I get a glare. This does, if you look, there's a square on here with those two little angular pieces off it. I saw a quilt made up of all of those, and I thought it was quite dynamic. So I went on Amazon and found this ruler, but they wanted quite a bit for it. And then when I was over at Ultimate Sewing, I happened to ask about it. Well, I was looking around, and there it was. They had it. I should always know better that Ultimate Sewing will have whatever I want. So I picked that up. And I picked this up. Now, I saw this on the Quilt Show, which I subscribe to. And it's a really cool looking table runner. And it's reversible. But the way they do it is, and I can't explain it because it's something to do with the flip method, is really cool. But you need a special ruler for this. Well, lo and behold, with this pattern, comes the ruler right here. Not cheap, $51, but I have it. So I thought it would make a really neat out of Christmas fabric. That's the reason why I bought more Christmas fabric, if I get around to it. But anyways, I got those two things. And as I said, on the Idiot Quilter tomorrow, for those of you that are quilters and that, I'll be talking about those in a little bit more detail. But I thought I'd show them today to you. Now, I bought another thing, and it has to do with 3D printing. And, well, I'm going to jump right now and talk about 3D printing because some different things happening here. Okay, so I've done my trophies. Actually, the last one is printing now on my printer. And I decided to go with purple. I know on the video it's going to look blue. Everything I show in purple turns out blue. It doesn't matter what my system is, what my setup is. They come out blue. Actually, I think it's a very pretty shade of blue too. I wish I could get that in a fabric. Anyways, here's the trophy. Now, it will be a pin cushion. It'll be up here. I'll show you that when I get them done eventually. In this spot here, I have designed a 3D printed little presentation plate to go in this spot. I haven't printed one out yet, so I don't know if that's going to work. I actually designed it in a CAD program, and I'm not very good with CAD programs at this point in time, so we'll see. But I will show you that when I get to it. And I've been making my little thimbles. I think I'm up to 32 of these little suckers right now. And they will become pin cushions, and these are going to be a little gift for all the ladies that go to the retreat in March. That is, if it happens. All of this is still pending on what situation we're in with COVID. Some coffee. Okay, spit the coffee up on your shirt. I'm doing well, aren't I? Old man drool. Yeah. So I've been working on those. Now, what else happened? Well, I had a problem with the new printer. When I was printing these little trophies, I was trying to print one in gold, the gold filament. And it printed for a couple of hours, and then the printer was doing weird things. It clogged. It clogged. Now, this is not unusual with a 3D printer. You will get clogs for a variety of reasons. So I thought, oh, shoot. So I cleaned out the clog and everything. I had to start all over. It printed again for a few hours, and then it clogged again. So I cleaned it all out again, tried a third time, but this time when I cleaned it out, I thought, okay, maybe there's a problem with the hot end nozzle where the filament comes out. So I put a new one on. I did some other little tune-up things and whatnot, started to print it again. Guess what? Well, this time it was totally different. My filament was clumping. Shouldn't do that. So I stopped the process and I went online to figure out what my problem might be. Just when you think you've had every problem you possibly can with these little beasties, a new one rears its little ugly head. So what I came to the conclusion was that I have moisture in that filament. Now, you're going to say it's plastic. Plastic repels water. No, it doesn't. There are some plastics, and PLA, which is one of the plastics that I use for 3D printing, can absorb moisture from the air. Yes, this is especially bad when it's really humid. Now here where I live, we don't get that many days of humidity, but we have had some humidity over the past couple of weeks. Now my house is centrally air conditioned, so really the humidity doesn't play a factor. However, my gold filament must have, at least my theory is, picked up moisture. Well, does that mean you have to throw away your filament? No. You can dry it. Now, there's various methods for drying it. The most ghetto way is to put it in your oven at a very low temperature for several hours. Not a fan of that idea. This is plastic. Plastic does melt, so you got to watch your temperature. Also, some plastics can give off fumes. That could be harmful to you. Also, this is not food grade plastic I'm dealing with here. You're putting it in your oven. You know, do you really want to cook in the same stove where you've been baking plastic? I don't think so. So the next level up is, and a lot of people seem to do this, is they buy a cheap food dehydrator. They have to do some alterations of that to make it work so that the spools of filament can sit in it properly, but they claim it works really well. And you can get a cheap one for $30. At least the videos I watched said you could. And they were saying go to Amazon for it, and they even had links. Well, I went to Amazon. Of course, it's Amazon in the United States, so the prices are totally different. I went to Amazon in Canada, and no, I could not find a cheap food dehydrator. They were ranging anywhere from about $70 and up. And I really did not want to spend that kind of money for something that you had to basically cut away pieces of. So I went to the next level. The next level is to buy one of these. This is a filament driver, or dryer, not driver. Inside I have my filament. This is my gold that's giving me the problems. You plug it in. It has an LED readout here that tells you what temperature. Different plastics need different temperatures for drying them out, and how many hours it's going to take. So I have used this with the gold. It took 6 hours supposedly to dry it out. After I'm finished doing this recording, I'm going to plug it back in and let it dry some more, and I'm going to try it out and see if that makes a difference. I'm hoping it does. These are not expensive. I think this cost me about $65 with tax on it all. And I got that from Amazon.ca. So I'm trying it out. Now, if this works really well, I may buy a second one, because you can actually leave your filament in this case. There are holes here at the top and on the side that you can pull the filament through and run it directly into your 3D printer, and this can be on. So it's keeping your filament dry, especially for a long print. Like these trophies take me about 36 hours each to make. So in that time, your filament, if it's not in a dryer, could absorb more moisture. So that's what I'm thinking. I'll let you know the results. I'll see if this works. In the meantime, my second 3D printer, the older one, the one that, I basically gutted and put back together again, has died again. This one's weird. Yesterday, I was merrily been making for the whole week all those little thimbles that I showed you, and it's been working fine. So I took the bed plate off to clean it up, because you put glue on the bed plate, so it builds up. You got to clean it every so often. Put it back on, getting it heated up, ready to level it, and the printer just stopped. It was like suddenly the power was cut off. Well, I have it plugged into a UPS, right? So if the power in the house had gone off, or even if the power from the outlet that the UPS is plugged into had gone off, because it's a battery backup, my printer would still be on. But that was not the case. So I did some troubleshooting. I checked out the outlet. I plugged the printer directly into an outlet that I knew was working fine. Nothing. No power going into it. So I did some research online. Now, I didn't know this, something new I learned, but there is a little fuse in this. Now, many appliances have little fuses, the little glass ones. Cars used to have them in that. I don't think cars have fuses anymore, but because they're all electronic, but maybe they do. I don't know. That's how much I know about cars. So I figured out how to pull the fuse out. It was very easy, and I looked at it, and to me, it looks like there's absolutely nothing wrong with the fuse, but it is hard to tell. So the other things that I was reading on YouTube about this problem all pointed that my power supply had died. Apparently, this happens. Now, you must remember, I use my 3D printers 24/7. So, yeah, a lot of use there, so it could wear out. So I went online. I figured out which one I need. I saw a video that shows how to replace a power supply, because this isn't outside of the case. It's inside in an area of the 3D printer. So, there is some unscrewing to be done. And but it looks pretty easy to do it. So I got the specs, the whole bit, went on Amazon. Sure enough, there's a power supply for it. I ordered it. Cost me another $60. $60 seems to be the biggie these days for everything. So it's on order. I also ordered a collection of fuses as well. Those were reasonably cheap, about 12 bucks for a big box of different ones. I probably never need all the other ones in it, but the ones that I need for this printer, I could have bought a 5-pack, but a 5-pack would have cost me about 20 bucks, whereas for $12.99, I could get a variety pack with lots of fuses in it. So I went with the variety pack. It's all part of my quest to hoard parts for my printers. So I'm waiting for that to arrive. Now, I just got a tracking notice that both of those things are supposed to arrive today. So I am hoping I'll be able to fix my printer. Now, the first thing I will try before I yank the power supply is the simple method, which is to replace the fuse. And well, if that works, yay, I have a spare power supply. If it doesn't, then it's put in the power supply and hope for the best. If that doesn't do it, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. Then the only thing I could think of is possibly the motherboard has gone. But in my way of thinking, if the motherboard had gone, there would still be indications on the readout screen or whatever that, it wouldn't look right. It'd be all scrambled or something, but it means that a component or whatever, the motherboard is gone. Now, if the motherboard goes, I don't know, I'd have to look at, can I replace the motherboard? At that point, I have a feeling that old printer is scrap metal. I'll strip it down for parts and buy another one. Because, I can't live with only one 3D printer. Once you've had two, my philosophy, more is more. So, there you go. So that takes us to my little travel video of the week. This is a continuation of my trip in 2019 to Australia, and it's another day on the Gold Coast, I believe. And so I'm going to insert that in here right now for you.
Okay, so this is our last full day in Gold Coast, and Walter's scouring his iPad to figure out what we're doing today. And so we're going to take the tram
to the other side of, to the north side. We're in Broad Beach right now. So we're going to go to the more populous area of the Gold Coast just for today, just to have a look around.
And what's the tram cost? You said I
think it's $4.80 each way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can get a card, but we're only going one way and one way back. So
yeah, so okay, so that's what we're off to today. So I guess we pick up the tram down there by the mall that we went to yesterday?
Yeah, we can either do that or walk up a little ways and get the next one, but I think that one will probably be the easiest.
Well, what do they have, machines there?
I think they have machines there. I don't know, they might even have a kiosk where somebody's sitting in it, I don't know.
It's kind of a pricey little tram though, when you think about it.
I don't know, what's the cost of a single fare in Toronto these days?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. We haven't done it in so long. It's over $3.
Yeah, so.
I think so. Yeah, I guess. Okay, so we're on the tram going to, where are we going?
Cattle.
Which, we're not sure what's there, but it looks like there's lots of things there. Stores and things like that. This is what the tram looks like on the inside. Inside station, looking through the screen.
And it's a Bombardier.
And it's a Bombardier.
Big deal.
Yeah. So this is Cavill Avenue area. It seems to be a main shopping, entertainment sort of district here in Gold Coast. We just took the tram down here. There's a steampunk place. There, Hard Rock Cafe, lots of places. Waxy's Irish Pub. So explore this area and see what it is. This is a little mall area off the street. Some of these places are just starting to open. No, I was talking on here. I said some of these places are just starting to open. Things around here don't seem to open until about 10 o'clock. Incest is best. Just another shot of this area down here. Interesting building. thing is the Vomitron, not the one going around, the one behind it. Apparently, it's a slingshot shot in the air, and then you lose your cookies, I guess. Some more shots of this area. It's a little tacky. I think where we're staying is sort of the better area.
It's a little less touristy. It is touristy where we are too.
Yeah. But it's also supposedly, Walter said, very loud at night down here, so a lot of bars and things.
I don't know, that's what I've read. I wouldn't know.
That's the tram. That's what we came down here on. Just a few more shots of this area down here. The water's over that way. And we're down at the beach. Surf's up good.
And there's the Canadian church.
Right. These are interesting. Not sure what they are. Maybe the seed pods or nuts or something. I don't know. Another little entertainment area. Lots of restaurants, bars, things like that. Probably comes to life at night. So this is a little mall within the street area.
Tacky little mall.
Tacky little mall. Pigeons love it, apparently. So this is Surfer's Paradise. At least that's what it says. And what would it be without a Macca's?
There's a big gate flag up there.
And when in the Gold Coast, do try Chatty's for your entertainment.
That Melba's here.
Oh, it's Malva's?
Yeah.
Oh, Malva's has it. Juggies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we've decided to check out the casino, which is across the road from where we're staying. And we're following this trail. We're not really sure where this is leading us to, but down here somewhere. So I think we found it. Got a weird way.
Roundabout way to get here.
A little bit. It's like you're going in the back door, but... So this is inside the Star Casino. This is part of the food area. You can't really actually take pictures in the casino itself because I don't think they allow you to. Usually they don't in casinos. But this gives you a little idea of the architecture. Something really unusual. This tree with these spiky flowers on it. There's one a little bit closer up. Don't know what they are. Kind of pretty.
So yeah, lots of things. Okay, so events in the past week, and I'm getting up to my big announcement here. Update on my mother, she's still alive. Not well. She's fading. Talk to her, as I always do. This week, tomorrow, I'm going over to physically see her. She's in bed. She's on oxygen. They haven't called me to say she's throwing up or that she's dying or anything like that. Sorry for being blunt about this. It sounds like I'm very callous about my mother, but you know I'm not. But this is just the reality I have to live with right now, and it's all beyond me. So it's in God's hands. What will be, will be. Okay, move on. Craft and Chat. We had that on Wednesday, first Wednesday of every month. Fun as always, inspiring. I got a lot of things done. That's where I got a lot of my table runners all put together and that kind of thing. So that's great. And if you've never been to a Craft and Chat, think about it. The next one will be the first Wednesday of October, whatever date that is. And there will be links for that when we get closer to that time. We are experiencing right now a tomato and lettuce overload from our garden. The lettuce all picked up again. Well, I think Walter planted some more seeds, so we're on our second crop of lettuce. So yeah, we should be damn healthy because we eat enough lettuce. And tomatoes as well. Lots and lots of tomatoes. Yes, I know people will say you can make sauce, but we don't have that many that would make it worth your effort to do that kind of thing. But we're eating lots of tomatoes in very creative ways. The chipmunks and the squirrels seem to be enjoying them too, because we do have one tomato plant in a big bucket down on the in the backyard. The other ones are up on our deck, so they don't seem to come up there and bother them. But the ones down in the yard, well, we have found, it's kind of funny, little cores of tomatoes hanging off the vine because the little creatures have gone in there and just gnawed away at them. And yeah, they just leave the core. So anyways, that's fine. We've got lots of them. You know, they're cute. Chipmunks especially. So let them have a tomato. So here's the big news and why I am doing this video today in this setup. We're making the plunge. We have decided to buy a long arm quilting machine. Why? Well, because I want one, but it's a lot of money. But they're having a sale. There is a place in the next town over called Whirls and Swirls. I've been there before, and I've actually done some of my quilts on their machines because you can, you know, rent them hourly and do it yourself. And Tracy, who runs it, is great. She helps you out with it all. We even took a course, a weekend course with her about using the machines and everything like that. So I have done long arm quilting before. Mind you, it's not free motion. What I've done something called pantographs. Pantographs are basically you follow a paper pattern, the laser light, and you know, as you follow the pattern, following the laser light, your needle is doing the pattern in the, you know, in the quilt. So I digress. Anyways, she's having a sale. She's a dealer for APQS long arm quilting machines, a good name in long arm quilting machines. And she's having a sale. Well, it's actually, she is not having the sale. The company itself is. I can get what they call a Lucy. A Lucy is not the top of the line machine, but very close to it. I have used the Lucy before. It's a great machine for $13,500 US. Now, before you fall off your chair about that price, let me explain a few things. That's actually the price of the Lucy, but you are getting about $3,000 or $4,000 worth of upgrades to it as well, which are all good upgrades. We're not talking here a couple of spools of thread. We're talking about deluxe tables that these go on and other features. With the exchange rate to Canadian dollars from that, with other miscellaneous things, with tax, all of that, we're talking probably $22,000. Do we have $22,000? Yeah, we do. But that does put a dent. This has been basically COVID money. We've been saving a lot of money, believe it or not, during COVID by not going out to eat and not going on trips. And so we've got not a lot, but a fair nest egg kind of thing saved up. Now, both Walter and I have steady incomes because we have good pensions. We both have been very smart with our money over the years as well. So, yeah, we can afford this. It makes us cringe a little bit because, you know, we're both kind of like, ooh, look, I like seeing numbers in my bank account kind of a thing. But as Walter said, we're not going on a trip anytime soon. And we would spend that on a trip. Believe me, it wouldn't take much. So, and he wants it too. Now, we started talking about this when the sale first came out, and we started taking measurements. Where will we put it? We have an area in our rec room that is a fairly open space. It would fit there, except it would be a monstrosity. They're not pretty machines, okay, long arm quilting machines, and they're big. And it's just overwhelming in that space to have it there. And as we did more measurements and things, we got a feeling like this is not right. This is not where we would want to put it. So we dropped the idea. Fine. 2 days later, Walter sends me an email. He was thinking. He was doing more research. And when he does that, he'll sometimes, because this is usually in the wee hours of the morning when I'm fast asleep, so he writes me an email about what he thought. He had it all worked out, where we're going to put it if we buy one. The workshop and my sewing room. You know that room is a disaster. If you watched The Idiot Quilter, you've seen it. But if we do some cleanup, he's done more measurements, we can get it in there. Now, that would be an excellent spot for it because we have doors to that room. We just shut the doors. No one needs to see it unless we want them to see it. Walter can still have his workshop, albeit a little reduced space. But, you know, right now, with the way he's got stuff packed in there, you'd think it was a hoarder's house, really. He keeps saying he needs to clean it up. But if he said he'd get rid of the table saw. He has this table saw. It's ancient. That was his father's. We never use it. He has another kind of saw, a more modern type of saw that takes up less space, that does pretty much anything we need it to do. He has a whole lot of stained glass stuff that he doesn't really do stained glass anymore. Well, mainly because he doesn't have the space for it. He used to do it. He used to take classes. So that's stuff that can be relocated. He's got a great big tool chest out there that came from his father's place as well. That is a very useful item, but it could go out in the garage too. My sewing room has to be collapsed because it'll no longer be the sewing room. I can't get my stuff in there with a long arm as well. And that's fine because the room I'm sitting in right now is my craft room. And I have been saying this for a while that eventually I wanted to gut this room. All my crafting supplies I do not use. I want to give away, donate, because I'm done doing paper crafting on the scale that I was doing it on, because my new love is quilting. So I want to change this room into a sewing room. So that's what I'm going to do. I've started the process. And I will be showing you over the next few weeks my process in this. And today I'm going to insert for you a little video showing you this room, so you'll see the before picture, and as time goes by you'll see the transformation. Now, we have an appointment to go down and see Tracy on Wednesday to make the arrangements for all this. Is it a done deal? Not really. But what is done is that at least, let's say, worst case scenario is we decide for some reason we are not going to buy the long arm. I'm still going to change this room into my sewing room. Walter's still going to clean up his workshop. So bonus there, because these are things that need to be done. We were off to IKEA yesterday because in my central area, well, you'll hear about that on the video, but in my central area, that's where my sewing machine will be at one end of a long table with storage space underneath it, all IKEA products. On the other end will be my embroidery machine. In the middle will be the cutting board. I have planned this out in stages for this room because this is a big job. I am organizing my supplies, the things I'm going to keep, the things I'm going to donate. I wish all of you lived here in my area because I would have you over to pick what you want. There's going to be a lot of stuff. Is it hard to get rid of it? No, I'm in the mindset now that I want it to go to a good home where it's getting used, because right now these things are sitting on my shelves and haven't been used in a long, long time. And they're not going to be used. Worst case scenario, I need something that I've given away, I'll go out and buy it again, or if I know the person has it, I'll borrow it from them. That's my philosophy. I'm going to donate paper and different things to a local elementary school that's around here if they'll have it. There is a community group, a not-for-profit thing called the Living Room in downtown of our city that basically offers free classes and a space for people who want to do art. I think it's still going. I just had a thought that I thought I saw something that said that they had closed out because of COVID, but then I think they got a grant or something and could open up. Anyways, I'm glad to find places, homes for all this stuff. I have to do this quickly because I'm not sure how long it's going to be before we can actually get the long arm, because I imagine she has to order it and it probably has to come up from the States. Then there's some assembly required. Oh yeah. She will do it. She'll assemble it. I think she charged about $500 to do that, but Walter thinks we can assemble it ourselves. Like his philosophy was, you put together a 3D printer, how hard is it put together a long arm? So we'll see. This is all stuff that's happening. It's all very, very exciting. It's also very overwhelming. And I'm plan things out to try and keep myself from being overwhelmed. So I really didn't need to have my 3D printer conk out on me, because that adds to my problems. And I'm still working on stuff for Christmas. So my first priority is to get the area that my sewing machines are going to be on, that part of this room set up. And then I can move out from there, because at least if my sewing machines are up and running, I can get some of my sewing done as well. So that's the plan. It's going to take a while to do this, but I want to get on with it. I already cleaned out 2 shelves from my central island yesterday. Took out a bag and a half green garbage bags of stuff that was just garbage, and I'm organizing in another room on some tables the stuff I'm giving away, the stuff that I'm keeping. And my pile that I'm keeping needs to be 1/3 of the size of what I'm giving away, is what I'm putting in my mind, because the whole idea is to purge, right? So I'm going to put a little video clip right in at this spot here to show you the things I've been talking about right now. So I'm going to stick that in here now.
Okay, so Walter and I just bought a long arm quilting machine. We had to find a place to put it. Well, guess what? One thing leads to another. This is my existing craft room. And I'm just showing you what this looks like right now. Now, in my plan, this is not where the long arm is going to go. The long arm is going to go into the combination workshop, exercise, quilting room, sewing dungeon as I call it, because that's the only place it's going to fit. That means we have to do a lot of reorganizing of stuff out there. Now, we've needed a clean out for a long time. I look like a hoarder in here. But this is all stuff from my crafting days. So I'm going to weed through all of this stuff. I'm going to give away a lot of it. I'm going to throw out the stuff that's just garbage, because I'm not doing this anymore. It's a shame in a way, because see all these blue boxes down here? These all have
Stampers Anonymous stamps, which are quite expensive and very nice stamps. I have all kinds of die cutting things in those brown boxes down there, you know, dies for, you know, the Sizzix. I have tons and tons of paper. That's a paper rack. This is a paper pad rack. And at the other end of this table is another paper rack, as you can see. I have drawers, many, many drawers filled with stuff. There's so much stuff in here, I don't know what I have anymore. All I know is I'm not using it anymore. One of my 3D printers is over here. I have ink pads over here. I have things on bulletin boards. I have things up here, books and more painting supplies. And I have this central table right here that I've had for quite a while, which is my craft bench. Okay, what's the plan? This is leaving. This whole center section is going. And I'm putting in IKEA tabletops and IKEA drawers. And this is going to be the central spot of my new sewing room. At one end down here, there will be my sewing machine. At this end will be my embroidery machine. In the middle will be my cutting mat. So this will be my cutting station. In this area, when it's all cleaned up, I'm going to keep this table because it's a decent table, and I'm going to make this into my pressing area. This area, this is actually a drafting table. I bought it many years ago when I first got into scrapbooking. I've never really used it as a drafting table, but it will come up, it'll go on an incline, and so I'm thinking of reestablishing it as such. Either that or my serger might go on that. Of course, all this junk underneath and everything will be cleared out. This corner will be all cleared out as well. On this counter along here, this is my computer area. I will keep this, but I will clean it up so that I don't have all this junk sitting around it. Same with everything that's on this counter. This is a wide format printer. I have not used it in many years. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of it or not, because that was an expensive toy when I first bought it. I think it cost me around $600 for it. This is my main printer. Of course I'm keeping that. But I'm going to move this out of this room, and I'm going to move a whole bunch of stuff way over here. My paper cutter, this other printer, and my laminator. And these are all going to go into what was the sewing dungeon, but that will be greatly reduced in there. It'll just be one table against a wall. And that's where this stuff, I think, right now is going to go. This is where my 3D printers will go. These ribbon racks will come down. So I can accommodate those. Those cupboards will be cleaned out. This TV stand is going to go. I have miscellaneous computers in here that I don't even use, so they're going to go somewhere. I don't know where. All this artwork that you see on the cupboards, on top of the cupboards, a lot of this is stuff that I did in mixed media. I'm not really attached to it, you know. It was all experimental stuff. It was fun at the time, but I think a lot of that is just going to hit the landfill site. There may be a few pieces I'll probably keep, but for the most part, that's all going. There's going to be a lot of garbage bags, I can tell you that, in here too. So yeah, this room is going to go under a drastic transformation. The time has come. I have talked about this for quite a while. I am making the switch completely over to sewing and quilting. I'm not interested in paper crafts anymore. I may keep a minimum number of supplies, but I'm really going to have to force myself to purge. Really purge. So throughout this process, I will keep you abreast of what I'm doing and show you the gradual changes in here. My first priority is this center section right here, because I don't want to have my sewing machines down for any length of time. And I have a plan all drawn out, which areas I'm working on. So I'm basically working on an area at a time. It's going to be horrendous. It really is. But I just have to keep in mind what the end product is going to be, what I'm focused on. And I'm not sure what my timeline's going to be like. I want to do it as quickly as I possibly can, but a lot of it's going to depend on when we get the long arm, how long that takes, because
first priority is to have a spot to set it up in, and that means cleaning out the workshop. We have a big table saw in there that's got to be moved out into the garage. Walter's been cleaning out the garage so we can do that. There is a treadmill that I want to give away, and it's going to be a bitch to get out of that room. There's some other miscellaneous things in there that Walter wants to relocate as well, so that we have that area to hold the long arm, and we need about 12 to 14 feet. And we can get it. We've been doing a lot of measuring, and we know we can get it in there. It's just this is all going to be a lot of work. But you want to know something? It's needed. We need to declutter. We have too much stuff that we don't need. I'm just hoping that a lot of my crafting supplies, like I've got boxes of Project Life when I first got into that I've never opened. I want them to go to good homes. I'm not going to try and sell these things because, you know, I've gotten my love out of them. Let somebody else enjoy them too. There is a community art place that I know will take some donations, so I'll need to contact them and see what they would like. A lot of the paper pads that I have in that, I'm going to take over to the local elementary school. It's only a few blocks away from me because I did that once years ago when I did a major purge down here, and they seem to appreciate it. So I'm going to see if they want things. So I'm going to try and donate a lot of this stuff, find it good homes, and some of it will hit the garbage though, because it is just garbage, but it's a lot of sorting to go through. Okay, so wish me luck.
So that brings us to the end of this week's vlog. Just a reminder that all the links you need and information about the Idiot Quilter Retreat for September 24th and 25th is in my show notes. So check that out, please. If you have any questions about any of that, then please feel free to drop me a comment, or better yet, send me an email. Email address is in the show notes. And I go on working on the rejuvenation, revamping, redesign, reorganization, whatever you want to call it, of my new sewing room. And I'll keep you abreast of my success with that as time goes by. Okay, I hope you have a great week. Idiot Quilter will be out tomorrow, and So Chatty at the end of the week, and Stephen and Walter live next Sunday afternoon. So lots to do, lots for you, lots for me. Have a good week, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.